I think we should get started. This meeting is being recorded, and we start with the Oakwatch mission statement. The code enforcement project works to improve the quality of life in Oakland by bringing people and institutions together to identify code violations, advocate for their remediation, and monitor the outcomes. I'm Elena Zaitzoff, the chair of Oakwatch, and to save time, we're going to ask that in the chat you put, beside your name, you put either your neighborhood or what community group or what organization you're representing. Our featured speaker tonight is Councilman Lavelle. He can't join us until a little later, so we're going to move on to public safety with Zone 4. Now, right now, I'm going to ask everybody else except Seargent Griffing to mute themselves. We were getting some background noise. Seargent Griffing?
I'm on now. I'm going to defer to Dave for the stats.
Okay,
then
great.
After that, I just have some information to share about the parking issues over in and around the Oakland area. So when Dave's done, I'll jump back on. Dave, you got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. Okay, the periods will be from January 21st to about a month later, February 17th, and we're comparing that period to February 18th to March 12th. And the numbers were these. We had a decrease in aggravated assaults, which went from 2 down to 0. A decrease in robberies, down from 1 to 0. A slight increase in burglaries from 0 to 3. There was 1 rape, so that went from 0 to 1. Stolen vehicles went up from 1 to 2. Thefts from vehicles from 2 down to 1. Theft from business also down from 4 to 3. Theft from person up from 1 to 2. Theft from residence down from 2 to 1. Theft by deception up from 0 to 2. For final overall numbers of from 13 up to 15. So as you can see, the numbers were actually very slight, whether up or down, usually within just 1 or 2. And I know we've got a lot planned for tonight, so I'll just add very briefly, an email was sent of a theft by deception, which was supposedly from Dan, in fact, asking a resident here to send a gift card, to buy a gift card and send him the number to it. And it was a scam. So anyone who comes across anything like that, if you're called or emailed or texted by someone you know, theoretically by someone you know, asking you to buy gift cards, always confirm it, and you'll probably find out that it's a ruse. It's a theft by deception. And then finally, I'll give you the numbers of arrests, which were also low. Simple assault, there were 2. Public drunkenness, 1. Paraphernalia, 2. Registration and certificate of title, 1. Criminal trespass, 1. Burglary, 2. Strangulation, there was 1. Aggravated harassment by prisoner was 1. Possession of controlled substance was 1, for a total there of 12. And I'll defer now to Sergeant Griffing.
Dave, can I ask a question first?
Sure.
Was the rape an incident that actually happened in Oakland, or was it an incident that was recorded as Oakland because they were brought to the Oakland hospital?
I believe it happened in Oakland. I believe it was and I'd need to check on this to be sure, but I'm pretty sure it was a situation where people knew each other, a roommate situation. So it wasn't, stranger on stranger.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a question as well?
Sure.
Is it okay? So Dave, about the theft by deception, that's happened to me 3 times now in like the last 2 weeks or so. And one was clearly someone that I knew. I knew the name, hands down. And the text was, hey, can I ask you a favor? I get texts from constituents all the time. I'm like, of course, what's up? And then I'm out of the country, whatever, I need to buy gift cards over and so on. Can you buy and send it? I'm like, of course I didn't bite, in any way, but then someone told me that his emails were hacked or his email address was hacked in some way, and that's how they were doing it. Then I got 2 more after that. I did not know who they were, but I have thousands of contacts and constituents text, and it's like, hey, Councilman, can I help? Can you give me a hand here? Sure, what's up? And then I get that buy me a gift card thing.
Right. Well, I don't know if anybody has as many traveling friends out of the country as the hackers must think people do. But, you just approach it with a certain skepticism, and the best thing to do is just confirm it. Reach them by phone, hear the voice of the person that you know, and ask if this is authentic or not.
Well, I just delete them, but I guess my question for you is, should I be reporting them?
You can be reporting them. I mean, there are thefts by deception, sure. I mean, yeah, you can be reporting them.
Okay, I'm not looking to give you guys more work by any means, but if I'm helping by reporting that it's happening, then of course I'm going to report if that's helpful.
Hey, Bruce, I know at least with Verizon, there is actually a text number. You can text a copy of the spam text that you got to them, and then they'll ask you for the number, and then I guess they do whatever kind of internal
investigation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if Sarge would, would agree with that, that it's worth reporting, even if you're getting many of them.
Okay.
Okay.
You done, Dave?
Yes, Sarge. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think they should be reported. You can report that to 311. Just let them know, because we recently were.
Try to make sure it works.
Hang on, just hang. You can hold the door.
Am I up or?
Yeah, you're on.
You're good.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, definitely report it. Because like we just had a bunch of cases where Chase Bank was listed as identity theft.
I'm good. Thank you.
Who's Norman's iPad?
Right.
Is there a Norman's iPad? It keeps popping up.
Norman's iPad, please mute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So, Councilman Kraus, I would definitely report it. At least gives us numbers. Like I said, I'm not sure how far everything goes, but if it's coming from a single place, then we could try to track that, because we do have someone looking into all these identity thefts involving Chase Bank. So we are keeping track of those. And another thing they do is, since someone like you has a ton of emails, all the emails that they're trying to use are very similar to Dave, South Oakland, are similar to their emails, or maybe one letter or one number off. So you glance at it thinking it's your boss or your friends who may need it right away. And of course, you're so busy, like, okay, yeah, I can help them out. And then next thing you know, you talk to that person like, no, that wasn't me. And by then, once you get these gift cards, bring the back of them, money's gone. So it is happening everywhere, but I do encourage you to report it. If anything, it gives us numbers, but you just never know. It could be we could use one to get a break, and then somehow try to get your money back, or at least put the word out that this is happening.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I was talking to or emailing with Liz earlier, and she had raised some concerns about parking issues in the Oakland area. And I'm not for sure who Dave South Oakland is, but he keeps popping up.
Yep.
But anyhow, the message I want to get across is she sent me some pictures of parking issues, and some of them are, I'm not going to say minor, but they're parking on a sidewalk, or they're too close to a fire hydrant, those type of things. But there was a couple that she sent that the car was so far out in the intersection that it created a hazard. And those are the ones that we need to know about, because as you can understand, someone walking out to get around that car is out in the middle of the intersection. Fire trucks can't get by, wheelchairs can't get up on the ramps. And for it to sit there, you know, those are the things that we can take action on right now. And those are the ones that we want to take action right now. So I was telling Liz, if I can encourage one thing, is that if you see something that can be a hazard or a potential hazard, those are the ones you can call 911 on. That's what we do. I mean, we cruise that area. I talked to the lieutenant in traffic. He has cyclists coming through. We always hit Johnson and Fifth, so they're there. But of course, there's just so many, we can't see them all. So if you do see them, like the pictures that Liz sent, and you can call 311 on the minor ones and attach those pictures to them, so it gives us an idea, because if we get there and that car's gone, we're kind of like, what's going on? But if you put that picture with it, then if it becomes a problem in a certain area, we can target that area to make sure that, you know, but just to do all Oakland, you know, of course, you know, it's manpower impossible. But if there is a certain area that's hit and we see pictures, we'll definitely target that area to see what we can do. But encourage those people who are sending you these pictures to call 311, and like I said, in the case of emergency or hazard, 911, so we can address them right away so no one gets hurt.
I have a question about that.
Go ahead.
I was under the impression that whenever we report things to 311 and we put images with it, for example, if somebody throws a tire out in the middle of the street and I complain about it, but if I have a picture with it, that picture doesn't always get forwarded to the unit that needs to take care of it. So, and often the picture is really important to say, look, right, my neighbor's got tall weeds and whatever. So what I have been doing in reporting 311, I will say, see attached picture or image. Okay. So then whoever's meant to follow it up knows that there's a picture and goes looking for it, because we've had some cases where things haven't been followed up because the correct agency says, no, I don't see anything wrong with it. So do you, whenever you pick up 311s, do you always see the images?
Well, I see what I think are being sent. I wouldn't know if you sent something and it's not attached.
Right, so right. How would you know? How would you know?
Well,
yeah.
Just like you said, which is a good example. If I read there that they're supposed to be, then I can inquire about it.
Yeah,
you know,
I've always thought that was a real shortcking of the 311 system.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good system. Of course, we're always improving. But if there's a notation there that there should be pictures there and they're not, then that would prompt me to look for them. But it's still a good idea to do. And if it needs tweaked where someone getting through, then that's something that we can talk about, make sure it gets better.
Well, for now, can we ask that Oak Cliff is getting hit really, really bad, because our Oak Cliff streets are very narrow, and when you've got people parking on the corners like that, it's just, you can't get through. Okay.
The biggest corner I notice is Dawson and Atwood. People straddle, they're halfway in Dawson and halfway in Atwood. They park right on the corner. Another big thing is South Bouquet and Dawson. There'll be people illegally parked on the street. There's one day there was actually 4 or 5 cars illegally parked beyond, the no parking zone. And all the illegally parking, I mean, you could drive down there today, you'll probably find somebody illegally parked in no parking zone. It makes it difficult to travel through there. And because it is a bad corner. And, you know, I've called 911 and the cop called me back right away, and he said, "You want them towed?" I said, "Well, I don't care. It just can't continue like this."
Well, I agree. And those two intersections, I'll definitely take a look at. I jotted them down. And, you know, of course, if you identify any more intersections like that, you can give them the list, and I can see what I can do. But it's not that we're not taking proactive. It's just that there's just so much that if you do see it with the 311s, with you calling 911, and with us proactively, you know, patrolling the area, I mean, I think it'll make a difference. But just bring it to our attention, and through the reports, pictures, etc., and we can work together and try to help out a little bit.
Well,
Do we still have meter people, parking enforcement people?
As far as, I mean, I see them. I mean, that's not what we do, but I do see them. You would have to speak to that department to let you know, give some more information about what they're doing and etc.
Yeah, they are out there. I've seen them, but they're not out as nearly as much as we would like.
Maybe that's another topic for our next meeting.
Oh.
Don't go there, Ron.
I'm not bringing it up. Any questions for me about or zone 4 about anything?
Yes, if we're done with parking, I have some unrelated questions. In addition to Officer Schifrin, who we know and love, who are our other community relations officers? Have they changed?
No, we still have Officer Butch, Victoria Butch.
Okay.
We only have 2, and that's
Okay.
Dave and Vicky. Now we do have
Okay.
neighborhood resource officers, which are specific to neighborhoods. We have one right now in Squirrel Hill and one in Hazelwood. We had one in Shadyside, but he's actually using his time and is going to retire and hopefully have a long and healthy retirement.
Okay, and my other question is that some people have security cameras that they would like to register with you. So what is that process?
You know, I know we had a program, and actually Dave was working on it in the past. I'm not sure if that's still active, but there's something that I think we can work on. He does put out his website, his mailing list to see. I don't know about how they register it, but at least we can be aware who has them and who wants to participate until we decide how we can further that. That way, if something does happen in those neighborhoods or somewhere close, we do know of this. We can compile a list and know of people who are willing to share that with us. And until we figure out, I don't know what that program, the status of that program is right now. I don't know if Dave can speak to that, but that was something that was doing.
Yeah, the program actually was intended to be citywide, and it was very ambitious, and there were a lot of cameras that, in fact, were registered. I call it registered, but it wasn't, you know, very official. But the information was taken, and it can be tremendously important, as you can imagine.
Right.
A crime happens at a time, or even a window of time overnight, and we know who's got cameras. We can contact those people and say, listen, would you mind looking at your footage and seeing if there's anything there? Now, they wouldn't be required to do so. And as the program existed, it was voluntary. But I hear a dog.
She just
okay. But I can look into whether that program might be, it's been on hold, at least I know that. But if it were, resurrected, I think it would be a great thing.
Okay, anything else for Zone 4? Thank you. All right, moving on to Public Safety and John Takarsky.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see you all. It really is good to see everybody, especially faces, especially with the spring weather. Hey, we're starting to move a little bit now that COVID's starting to soften up a little bit. So I already put on the chat 2 items for your attention. One is tomorrow evening is the Zone 4 Public Safety Council's March meeting on Zoom. It'll tell you on there the email address to contact if you want to receive the information for the Zoom meeting. It's going to be interesting. We're going to the city this past year has undergone a couple steps to address the violence issue in the city. And one of them is working with outreach workers in the communities. So tomorrow night's meeting is going to feature some of these outreach workers to tell you exactly what they're charged with doing, what they're doing, and what the success has been of that. And of course, we'll also have the local police officers there, plus you get a chance to meet a lot of your neighbors. We've had really good representation at this meeting from all the various neighborhoods in Zone 4, which is good too. So you're more than happy to invite to that. In relationship to, we are about to kick off the Citizens Police Academy. I've attached a flyer for that information. That first class will be beginning next week. I believe it's the 23rd. Let's see if that's right. Yes, the 23rd. It'll be every Tuesday for 9 consecutive weeks from 6 to 9 p.m. And it'll be done via Teams application. So as many of you know, I've said this so many times in the past, it's primarily an introduction to some of the more important classes that police cadets take when they're in academy in preparation for their job. Everything from introduction to criminal law, to the history of the Pittsburgh Police, to crime scene investigation. All the various,
come on, I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere.
all the various branches within our police department. So it gives you a good chance to meet these people who do this work and the instructors who teach it. So if you have any questions, again, I've put my name, email address, and phone number on chat. And like I said, anything outside of these issues at any time for your individual community groups, if there's something relevant to public safety, when I talk about public safety, I'm not just talking about police, I'm talking about fire, EMS, park rangers, animal care and control. Please feel not to even hesitate for a moment to call me, and we can talk about what you'd like to hear discussed and what forum that you're at to do it at. Any questions, any concerns or issues? Okay, I like that. Elaine, I'll be looking forward to hearing back from you then tomorrow around 1:30.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the University of Pittsburgh Police. Officer Johnson, I understand this is your last meeting with us.
This is it.
Thank you from Oakwatch. You are a big part of turning things around in all the neighborhoods, and especially with your knock and talks. Very much appreciated. You're going to be missed. So what do you have for us tonight?
Thank you. I'm going to miss you all.
Oh, I'm sure you are. Well, you can always join. I mean, we're here.
Okay.
We'll make sure you get the invite.
It was a good ride.
There's no residency requirement.
Yeah, it was a good ride. I appreciate everything and all of our relationships we built. For us, month of February, we have that's when our students just started coming back in February. Of course, now next month you're going to see a lot more activity. I'm sure you all know. Pretty busy this past weekend. We responded to a lot of those parties, and we're doing knock and talks daily. So for February, we've had a few reported incidents. We had one criminal mischief on campus. We had one DUI arrest. We had 2 open container citations issued to non-affiliates off campus. We had 8 panhandling encounters. 5 of those resulted in citations and 3 were given warnings, all off campus. We had 1 public urination citation, non-affiliate off campus, and responded to 13 suspicious activity or person calls. None, if they were of any incident significance, I would make note of that. But most of those were just things we get warnings to, people acting suspicious or suspicious activity in Oakland. We had 1 underage drinker citation, and we had 7 conduct referrals, and Impact went to 5 parties. They ended up shutting down 2, gave 3 warnings. The to lower the volume on the music, and we followed up that February month with 13 knock and talks of parties or large gatherings. Our conduct referrals, of course, they were 2 for marijuana, 1 for noise complaint, and 4 for underage drinking. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah, Guy?
Yes.
I was over on Semple by Fats, the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they apparently got approved for a permit to have the side or the parking area in front of their place blocked off so that they can put up tables. But they also put out a few cornhole games for them, 2 by the curb and 2 by the building. And they've got their windows open. You know, those garage door windows that we've had problems with before. If somebody can maybe check on them later this evening to see that they're shutting the windows at a reasonable time.
The garage doors is not Fats, that's Illusion.
No, I'm talking about the garage door windows that they have at Fats.
Fats doesn't have garage door windows.
Yes, it does. They roll up. Yes. We've been over there. The neighbor right across the street has complained previously. But it's just, you know, they need to have the windows shut after 10 if we can get that done.
Did anybody make a call during the time, or did a call in that loud noise or at that time?
I've just had people ask me about it. I don't think anybody has actually called.
Okay. Because I know our units are out patrolling, and especially on the weekends, extra impact.
Just with the previous management, we had an agreement that they would roll down the windows at 10 o'clock. And we'd just like to get the same agreement with the new people.
Okay, yeah, we'll look into it. I'll have our
Just
afternoon shift. You said it's around 10 o'clock. They should be down.
yeah, that would be good.
Well, that's when the noise ordinance kicks in.
Yeah. All right, we'll mention it to our units patrolling in the afternoon and nighttime.
And can your officers write parking tickets?
They can, if depends on what it is, and it's not something that basically it's on complaint. I know a lot. When I was out, I would do a lot of, especially for parking my crosswalk. But
We're having a lot of crosswalk parking again.
Yeah, it's gonna get. I know.
And backward parking too.
Backwards. Yeah. But I know what I did see. I seen 3 city parking enforcement officers together today. They was out. They was on it today. They was out in Oakland. They had 3 of them together. So, they're back. So hopefully some of that will be heard by them, because I did see them out today. They were walking around.
Oh.
Anything else for Officer Johnson?
It's been a pleasure, everyone.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to email you about 501k though.
Okay. All right.
Well, one
It all
last time.
started.
Huh?
You will be missed, Guy.
You will be missed.
So you're still going to be around. This is your last meeting, but you're still going to be around for a little while, right?
Yeah, barely.
Okay.
Taking time off.
Okay.
It's about that.
Who's going to replace you coming here?
There's going to be a few. Heather's still going to be there. So she'll be doing the staff and stuff that I do. So they have a couple other. I thought, Dan's on now. Dan Chambers. You show yourself if you can. If he's going to be one of the officers, I think that's Dan. Dan wants to. I don't know if he's on camera. I see his name, but anyway, he's going to be one of the officers. And of course, Sergeant Riley be our sergeant, so she'll coordinate whoever's going to be taking my spot.
Okay. Enjoy.
Thank
All
you
right.
again. Yes,
All right.
enjoy. Office of the Mayor, Eric Williams. There you are.
Hey, good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing? So yes, I'm Eric Williams, here representing Mayor Peduto's office, in the Office of Community Affairs.
Excuse me, would everybody else please mute?
Okay. So as I usually do, a few more other things for folks that don't know what I do. Constituent issues is one of the key roles I have in the Office of Community Affairs, as well as run programs like Snow Angels and assist with on social media, as well as Civic Leadership Academy. So what I usually do is give announcements, and I have a few here today. The first one I have is COVID-19 Emergency Rental Assistance Program. The $36 million between the city and the county is now eligible for folks that want to apply for those the assistance. So some of the things that you have to meet, some of the requirements you have to meet is household income below 80% area median income. You have to be at risk of homelessness and housing instability. One of the following due to COVID-19 qualifies for unemployment benefits, reduction in household income, experience of financial hardship, and lease or oral lease documentation, just to prove that you're eligible for the program. I'll leave everything that I'll announce today will be left in the chat right after I'm done speaking, and they'll be in chronological order as I'm presenting them, so that way it's easier to follow and click on. Next one is over the year after the start of COVID-19 pandemic, the city of Pittsburgh Parks and Recreation has reached a significant milestone with distribution of 500,000 free meals to eligible children and seniors. Since March of 2020, when the COVID started and everything kind of changed up on us, they distributed about 423 grab-and-go meals to children and 100,000 meals to seniors. So there is a number of locations throughout the city. That link will be left in the chat. Next announcement I have is Mayor Peduto and Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh announced the launch of Own PGH. It's a bond-funded single-family home acquisition and rehab program, and it provides updates on Pittsburgh Land Bank and other tools that will support affordable home ownership and neighborhood blight fighting tools citywide. The centerpiece of the Own PGH is a $22 million bond to finance and fund the lower the barriers to folks acquiring single-family homes throughout the city of Pittsburgh. And I'll leave the link down there for folks that are interested in that.
Looks like Eric is frozen.
Or gone.
No, he's still there.
Lana,
you want to let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. I don't think Emily from Nighttime Economy is with us. Emily?
No.
I think that tonight's one of her busiest nights of the year. Parking Authority, Gwen?
Gwen is here.
Gwen is here.
I'm here. I was on mute. No real updates. I know you guys have the numbers already. March should be the month where we should see some uptick as we started March 1st on some evening enforcement. So we'll see more enforcement happening moving forward. Other than that, we're just trying to hold it together. We still have a lot of staff that are out.
Can your staff write parking tickets for people that are parked on fire hydrants or into the intersection?
Yes.
Over crosswalks?
Yes.
They can. Okay. Yeah, if you can ask them, because it's the crosswalk thing is really getting bad. And the fire hydrant thing. So if they can, keep an eye out for those two, that'd be great.
Yeah, generally everything that's not a moving violation, we can cite.
And what's the status on them citing cars parking backwards? Are they doing it? It was a blitz for a while and then it stopped. I guess this is a request to start again.
There was a push for us to do it in Oakland specifically, and there's a push overall for us not to enforce backwards parking in other areas. So officers are still enforcing parking on the wrong side in Oakland.
Okay, I know, yeah, like yesterday I was driving down Cato Street and it looked like a one-way street.
Can I ask a question about that?
Mhm.
Forgive my ignorance. Backwards parking is parking in the opposite flow of traffic. Is that what that means? So that's governed under state law, as I understand it. I remember we had a commander down here, Bill Joyce, and man, he was all over that stuff. And we've seen an uptick in the South Side as well, too. I think it is largely a student population. I'm not looking to beat you guys up, trust me. But I think what it is different. Oftentimes what I see is out-of-state plates, where I think there is just a misunderstanding that in the state of Pennsylvania, you cannot do that. Maybe Ohio, New York State, I'm not sure. But here you cannot. Perhaps there is some engagement then with the universities as an education platform that in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that's a big no-no. You have to park in the flow of traffic. And if you're parked in the opposite flow of traffic, you're going to be tagged.
Since it, in the dramatic increase in it came with the new camera system on the cars. So many of us believe that it's so that the cameras can't read the license plates.
Interesting.
That's the cameras can read the license plate going or coming, so that shouldn't be an impact. But
that side would have to be on when they turn around.
I'm sorry?
The camera on that side would have to be turned on when the enforcement car turns around to go the other way. Right? Both cameras aren't on all the time. And if there's parking only on one side of the street, then the enforcement car probably isn't going to come back up the street the other way to catch the cars that are parked backwards.
Well, and they should, so.
They should, right? They should.
So that would be how I would approach that.
Yeah, like I said,
But it was my understanding when I came on a couple of years ago that it was the idea that parking on the wrong side of the street or the wrong way parking, where it wasn't highly enforced, and we were asked not to enforce it. And then about a year into it, I know Oakland asked specifically that we enforce that strongly in the Oakland area. But overall in the city, we have not enforced that as a regular. So Bruce, if that's something that we need to address further, please let me know.
Yeah, Gwen, I do, and I don't want to take up time here. We can take it offline. But many of you know I live at the intersection of 18th and Mary, and the point of enforcement of that violation is that you're crossing a lane of oncoming traffic to get into the lane you desire to be in. And when you are in a crowded intersection with compromised sight lines, because you've heard time and again tonight how people want to park all the way to the very corner and block a crosswalk, and you're not always seeing the traffic that's coming, especially in an intersection that's making a turn, and you're crossing over that lane of oncoming traffic to get into your lane. It's a scenario that's just ripe for head-on collision.
Yeah, I totally agree. So if we can remove that stipulation of citing those vehicles, I'm all for it.
Okay.
I might add one other downfall of it is a car that's parked in that way facing you. Of course, if you're driving at night, it means the headlights are shining into your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like parking on the sidewalk. The south side, has to abide by or allow that, because otherwise there would be no parking. But yeah, especially going against if it's thwarting the cameras, which we think it does. Like I said, it's outside of safety. It's
Not to belabor this, I'll make this real fast, but right now PennDOT's investing $20 million in a redesign of East Carson Street based solely on safety, whether it be vehicular, pedestrian, bicycle, public transportation. So there are bump outs being created at major intersections. If any of you have been on Carson Street lately, you'll see there's major construction going on. But the complaints I'm getting now is people are parking at the bump out. So when it comes and bumps out and you're supposed to stop here, they're parking here on the bump out and squeezing the street down to one lane. Like
That's
it's
what
the most
happens in
natural
Oakland.
thing in the world. Yeah.
That happens in Oakland, especially lately with the food delivery stuff. They don't care. It's like I'm gonna be here for 5 minutes.
It's a curb. At least they're on a curb. Here, they just pretend the street still continues and park.
I have
Bump
not
out the
seen that
curb.
on Forbes when I'm there. I've not seen that on Forbes. But nothing surprises me these days, and I'm sure nothing surprises these officers these days either.
It's crazy. All right, well, I'm glad to hear that they still are to be citing for backwards parking because it's rampant. Anything else for Gwen? Thank you for sending those numbers. Okay, PLI, Liz, any comments? I know we don't have.
Real quick, Elena,
wait.
did Eric have anything left?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry about that.
Eric's back.
Yeah, my computer has troubles for a long time, but
Eric, you're back. I'm sorry.
no problem.
Would you like to finish?
Yeah, I'll finish a few more really quick.
Okay, great.
All right, thanks. So the next announcement I had before I was interrupted, the opioid overdose dashboard to address unsafe opioid use is now up and running. And this is a partnership between the Mayor Peduto's office, Pittsburgh Public Safety, and Office of Community Health and Safety, where it is used as a public tool that will help form and guide policies and programs to more effectively address unsafe opioid use in the city of Pittsburgh. The dashboard compiles Pittsburgh Bureau of EMS data to map monthly opioid overdose calls and public safety response. And the data will be included in the data that is included in this dashboard is the number of people that overdose, what neighborhood did they overdose in, and other demographic information that helps first responders and helps the city kind of form different ways of address some of the issues that surround folks that are, overdosing. And like I said before, that I'll share all the links as always. The next announcement I have, I think I have like 4 more, is still announcing the City Planning, Public Art, and Civic Design Division announced that there will be a series of calls for artists in 2021 to commission new public art, as the city dedicated $800,000 for public art projects across 18 neighborhoods for the largest introduction of new public art in the city for decades. The projects are being funded through grants and % of art funding as part of the city's projects, coming at no additional cost to the city. There was a webinar happening today at 5, but you can still go in there and go to research more about it, and perhaps if you're an artist, submit a proposal to be a part of this exciting new initiative. And I'll leave the link there for that for those that are interested. Let's see, City of Parks hiring lifeguards. They what is it for the summer season, and there is the pay range is $11 to $15 per hour based on your experience. There's training classes happening soon. I'll leave the link down there for those that you want to share that information with, or anyone on this call that wants to sign up to be a lifeguard. The Minority Business Directory, this is the City of Pittsburgh and URA Urban Redevelopment Authority, create an online public directory for minority-owned businesses to assist entrepreneurs in growing their businesses. You can go in there, check out what's on the directory, as well as enlist your own business on there if you want it. And the next announcement I have, let's go straight to, I'm excited about this one too. This is the PGH 20 Cares. PGH 20 Cares is a proactive feature of PWSA's existing customer service program. Members of Low Income Assistance Advisory Committee expressed interest in developing an outreach-driven program to increase enrollment. through their collaboration with the committee members, community stakeholders, and Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission. PGH 20 Cares was established along with several other enhancements to PWSA's customer assistance programs that included in the 2020 rate filing and went to an effect in January 14th. So there's more information about that. I'm gonna share that in the chat. And then last two announcements is, we'll leave it to this one, Dolly Parton Imagination Library. I like to share this last because it's super cool. This is the program where you sign up a child that's under the age of 5 years old, and they receive a book in the mail every month. Dolly Parton has had this program for a while now, and the city's partnered with her, and they're still taking applications for folks that want to sign up children. So they'll receive the book until the kid is 5 years old, and I'll leave that information in the chat if you want to sign someone up. And I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, Eric, can I ask a quick question? Is there any update on the recycling bins, the blue bins that we're going to be getting?
Yeah, there's actually a website I'm going to share in the chat, but I can look it up really quick to see where your neighborhood is getting their blue bins, and you'll see the chat. Oh, Liz, go ahead.
Yeah, no, actually, Adam, we're posted as getting them spring 2021. But if you receive the email blast from OPDC, we will be sending out when they're actually going to start. I'm staying in touch with Teresa Bradford over in Environmental Services, so we get the actual start date.
Thank you.
At this point, we don't have it.
Thank you.
And I put the link in the chat already, so you can go. It's super easy to use, and you can type in your neighborhood, and you can share that with other neighborhoods as well. Thank you, Liz. Any other questions?
Actually, are they going to start doing street cleaning in April?
It's a good question. I still need an update on that, and I haven't got it yet. But as soon as I do, I will share that with the group.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. Okay, we don't have anybody from PLI. Liz, do you have any comments to make on our property list?
Okay, right now, there's not much activity on the property list. A lot of our cases are delayed because of COVID, and they're going before the housing court in early May. May the 4th and May the 6th seem to be very popular dates. But we do have two properties that we requested PLI get boarded up, 3204 Niagara and 3319 Niagara. Desiree has moved that through to get them boarded. They've clear cut it in front of 3319, so the sidewalk's open now, which is great because that was a big problem. Otherwise, we're kind of at a standstill on several things. Mainly, this is involving properties where somebody has died, and it's a bit more complicated. So,
The Bates properties, 3401, 3421 Bates, the new court date in April is about what? Sorry to catch you off guard.
which one on Bates?
Oakland Gateway Ventures. Oh, no, they've been sold, sorry. The Trafford Real Estate Company, Penn Pioneer Enter.
No, they're going for conservatorship. Penn Trafford is going for conservatorship of the Oakland Gateway properties. Okay, and if you look down the agenda, there's a note there that explains, we're going to get into that a bit more in the NABE's Oakland-wide meeting at the end of March.
So is the April 21st date the conservatorship hearing?
Where are you getting that date from?
It's the last sentence in it. It says new court date, April 21st with a court docket number. So that doesn't sound like.
No, that's not what the conservatorship is.
Right, I didn't think so. So what is it?
Magistrate's court, and I believe that is dealing with the fire situation.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, but we continue to document the graffiti, and I'm glad somebody's going to be able to take it. So, but as I said, we will have more information on that come the end of the month. And the people that are looking to take the conservatorship are very interested in working with the community.
That will be refreshing.
Yeah. So. That, that, I would appreciate it if anybody has any 311s that they submit, if they could let me know so that we can get them into our data system, that would be brilliant. PLI's instituted, they've done some changes on their system over the last couple of weeks, and it is actually an improvement. I'm receiving daily notifications and all the tickets that I file and any other ticket that's filed in Oakland. So.
Liz, did you 311 the Porta-John on Lawn Street?
Yes, I did. I have news on the Porta-John on Lawn Street. It's actually a Porta-John that belongs on Sarah on the south side. So I got it.
They've been looking for it.
Did somebody steal it and take it there or something?
Well,
It's on a trailer.
It's on a trailer. I got a hold of the Porta-John people. This time I got somebody that apparently cared, and she looked up who had actually taken that Porta-John and had the lease on it, and she told me where it was supposed to be, and then she gave me the number and the name of the company and the contact at that company, and I left a message today. I will call them back again in the morning. So, but it has been 311. It's just
right.
Yeah.
Nice of you to do their work for them.
Yeah. Keeps me up.
Liz, this is Norm Cleary from Shenley Farms.
Oh, hi, Norm.
I'm filling in for our Liz, who is unavailable for tonight. Maybe you can help me out with something. We've been working on unlicensed work that has now 13 months into the process at 204 Tennyson.
And this is unpermitted construction or building?
Unpermitted construction. It is the conversion of a carriage house. According to Building Eye, it's the conversion of a carriage house into a guest suite.
They would have
now,
to go before zoning for that.
Yeah, it requires a variance, but before it can get to that stage, we've basically been hung up with HRC. We've been through 2 hearings with HRC. The good news is that HRC declined to issue a certificate of appropriateness. Okay. They met with the owner, and the owner has agreed to remove the unpermitted facade and restore doors, so that garage type doors, so that the exterior appearance of the building is restored to something more resembling a carriage house, which all the other detached garages and carriage houses on the street look like. So this, after they did this work, this was the only property that had this odd looking, very rural looking appearance. I'm bringing this up because when I look at Building Eye, I don't see anything that actually represents the all of the work that was done.
Right. Okay. You know, Building Eye, when you go to enforcement now and on permitting, it's actually on one stop. It's on another system. It's all being phased over to this one stop. And it does get a wee bit crazy on occasion trying to track things down. But if you can leave that with me, and I will go through and check what permits it has and doesn't have. Sadly, we've had a big rash of unpermitted building work being done in Oakland. That's one of the notices I got today. Actually, it was 7 of the notices I got today was for unpermitted construction work in Oakland.
Oh my, okay. How do I get to One Stop? Is that something that you can direct me to?
Oh, if you're on Building Eye, just click on the enforcement tab.
Yeah.
And that should send you to One Stop, and you want to register.
Okay, let's click on enforcement.
In Building Eye.
I'm in Building Eye. Menu?
on the right-hand side of the screen where you've got the choice of building, enforcement, license, planning, I think?
Yeah, building enforcement, click on enforcement.
Yes, please.
Okay. Enforcement, and then
It should send
do a
you,
new search.
it should send you to One Stop. It's not?
Somebody just
Code
put the link in the
enforcement
chat room.
Code enforcement cases discovered today. No, I don't see anything that says One Stop.
Okay.
Norm, somebody put the link in the chat.
Okay, great, thank you. So in any event, I will look at that, but just to put the icing on the cake here. I guess building inspectors have been out a couple of times. Yet I don't see, for example, the sidewalk in front of the driveway is asphalt with huge craters in it. And of course, asphalt is not permitted as the sidewalk surface material. That apparently the inspectors that have been out have never noted it.
Well, what I'll do is I'll come up and I'm going to document everything. And then I will resubmit the tickets under my account.
Okay.
And go from there. If you can message me in the chat with like your email or your phone number so we can connect, and
I will
go from there.
Thank you very much.
Surely.
Okay, on to City Council, Councilman Kraus. You're giving your own report tonight.
I thought Councilman Lavelle got the hot seat tonight.
I don't think he's at another meeting, and I don't think he has, we knew he was going to be late at probably after 7 o'clock, and I don't think he has joined us yet.
All right, he'll hear about it tomorrow, trust me. No, I'm kidding. Hey, the only thing I'll bring to your attention, because I know you have a lot of
he will be on. He should be on soon. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You're fine.
Cassandra Williams. He should be coming on soon. I just sent him the link, so give him a few minutes and he should pop in.
Thank you. Thanks, Cassandra. Tonight, I'll just bring to your attention the residential permit parking program and updates that are not underway, but what's the word I'm looking for? Say it again. Yeah, I was hoping to get to something before the survey, but anyway, we know that there are a lot of issues around the residential permit parking program, and it has been the desire of many residents and many city officials to understand what works, what doesn't work, what we can improve, what we should let go, what we should add. And so this week there was a survey released. And I believe you probably have it already. I know I sent it on to Elena. There were some problems with the link going live today. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it was corrected and the link did go live. I'm actually on it now. And it's a rather brief survey. The timeline for feedback was established to be March 10 through April 25 of 2021. I talked to Elena about this just very briefly. I am going to ask for a brief extension of that because we did kind of lose a week if you look at it that way. March 10 to March 17, it only went live on 17. So I'm going to ask if we could not bump that up a week and take more feedback. And then from the feedback that's collected in March and April, there will be some amendments crafted that are suggestive in nature and only suggestive in nature so that they can put into a process where in May and June of 2021, those amendments will be introduced to a public hearing, public hearings, I should say, and to take further testimony from people that wish to contribute and from residents alike, and then craft that into some kind of a revision to the program that will then go under its whole entire process, which would be June, July-ish, give or take, of 2021. So I would caution, though, that council recesses in August. So I would look for September-ish of 2021 before any real finalization of the process really takes place. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, 7 months, 6-month process should give us as accurate a snapshot of RPP as it exists, the likes and the dislikes of residents alike, and then how to craft that into some level of correction that benefits the program and residents alike, and then introduction to council for consideration and ultimate passage. But the link is live. Elena, do you want me to resend this to you? Would that be helpful for you to distribute? I'm happy to do so.
Can you just put it in the chat?
I think Andrea put the link in the chat.
Oh, Andrea, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do that. Bob would do that stuff for me. I'm a bit of a dinosaur.
We love Bob.
Yeah, we love Bob. Bob's a good guy. And so, I mean, that's pretty much what I was going to offer up this evening. I will briefly go into rental registry. You know, as you know, it's been a point of contention for probably the better part of a decade. It looks like Liz is, I thought maybe Liz was having a reaction to the mention of the words rental registry. But you know, a piece of misinformation that's out there is that somehow a rental registry has not passed. It has passed. It has been quote unquote law for as long now as I can remember. The issue is the court hearings and the stay of enforcement by Judge James when it came to him. And the reason it came to him is that I believe in a last-ditch effort, the Realtors Association wanted to go to court and challenge the fee process, the fee structure, and wanted to have hearings before Judge James as to how the fee structure was established and if it is indeed a fair system. So last 10 days or so ago, I know Liz was attached to the hearing like it was the OJ trial. She was there every minute of every day and followed it. It was quite brutal. They did bring back Director
Mark Kennedy.
Yeah, Director Kennedy. She was on for an entire day. I was actually subpoenaed to appear, as was now Chief of Staff Gilman. They let me go at the last minute and did not seek testimony from me, but they did keep Chief Gilman. I know he was on for probably the better part of half a day, and then I believe our new director at PLI, Sarah Kinter, was on for a day. So the hearings have been concluded. They are in the judge's hands. I believe there are 45 days from the completion of the hearing for the interested parties to submit findings of fact. I expect that we're not going to know anything probably till well into midsummer, I suspect. But God willing, if the stars align and the heavens is with us, we will have a definitive decision here, I believe, this summer, and hopefully begin enforcing a rental registry program. I hope.
That would be good.
It would be wonderful. Many of you might not know this statistic. There's no reason why you would, but the 3rd Council District, which includes all of South and Central Oakland, the Southside Flats, and all into the Hilltop neighborhoods and over into Mount Washington, we have far exceeded the 50% rental mark a number of years ago. I'd be curious to know what it is now, but clearly it is more than half of the properties in the 3rd Council District are rental properties.
We'd be right up there with big cities like Scranton.
Bethlehem, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Even small boroughs like Rankin, I think, or is it McKeesport or something that have rental registers.
Yeah.
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 So I think Councilman Lavelle joined us. I think we should put Councilman Lavelle in the hot seat.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yes.
There he
Welcome.
is. Yeah. So I will gladly relinquish the floor to Councilman Lavelle.
So thank you for having me on. I do apologize. I have a standing 6 o'clock on every Wednesday. So I apologize for getting late, but that's the reason why. With that being said, I'm not sure if I'll answer any question better than what my outstanding colleague has already done, but I'm certainly here and willing to answer any question that you have. I was told that Lawn Street was an area of concern for the community. And so I thank Liz for bringing that to my attention. I will reach out first thing in the morning. It's my understanding that there are large potholes, sinkholes, and that it's just a mess. And so I will reach out to our director about working to get that street repaired. But I'm not sure if there are any other burning issues that you all wanted me for me to address tonight, but I'm certainly here and willing to take any questions.
Well, and also it would be the sidewalk down on Lawn Street too is an issue.
Okay.
Okay.
What sidewalk?
The sidewalk across from the park lot.
Yeah, it's disintegrated. That was supposed to be,
And it
yeah,
actually
funny.
runs all the way up Lawn Street, but it's just kind of disappeared in chunks over the years. So that would need looked at. And my other request is with regard to Chesterfield.
Wait, excuse me, Liz, if we could say one more thing about Lawn Street, because I went down it today, actually to see if the Porta-John was still there. And you can tell where the fence was. And now that the fence, though it is still perpendicular to the ground, the fence is falling over the hill. So you can see where the sidewalk is falling down. Yeah. I mean, not that there's a sidewalk there anymore, but you know, where it is, like, that's kind of a sinkhole on the other side of the sidewalk almost. Like erosion, I don't know, but it's bad, it's dangerous. But that was interesting when I saw the fence in a lower position than where it was, you know, further down the street. And I'm like, oh, it sank. It didn't, you know, wasn't originally it was all one, you know, level, and this a couple of sections of it, like a block long, you know, have actually sunk.
Okay. We will look into both the street and the sidewalk starting tomorrow.
Yeah. And on Chesterfield, I'm trying to work with the landlords and the residents there, the students too, to get trash containment. And we have a real issue. I was up there one night recently, and rodents, and I'm not saying little tiny cute mice, big rats with long tails have just virtually invaded the neighborhood up there. So we really, you know, I've reported it to the county, but if we could get like I don't know, the street is caving in. We really need a city engineer to go look at the street too. You can tell where the street has developed a dip in the center, but then you can look at the houses down one side of the street and you will see that there seem to be shifting forward too. I'm concerned that there's a major problem issue with the drains, the sewage, and whatever else is underneath there that is a bit more than just lead lines.
Okay. As you're speaking, I pulled it up on my Google Maps so I could try to take a look and see the condition of the street. Because admittedly, I haven't been on Chesterfield for a very long time.
It's a Belgian block street.
Yeah. And the whole street is uneven. And you can see from where the car tracks. So, okay.
And right now, you know, whenever I go over there, generally students walk up the middle of the street because they can't walk on the sidewalk.
So what I will do is I have another street like this somewhat nearby, Bryn Mawr Road in the Hill District, which is off of Center Avenue, that is this sort of exact same block street. And I had our city engineers walk the street with me last year to see what could be done. And so I will reach out to them, ask them to, again, come out, walk this street, look at the sidewalk, look at the street itself to see what can be done. More than likely, as I'm looking at this, you would have to totally re-engineer the entire street. You'd have to lift all these blocks up to try to fix this, which would be a large financial hit, but we have some federal aid coming, so maybe there's an opportunity to do it now.
Because it's getting worse and worse and worse. And also, I'm just thinking of the homeowners living, you know, and landlords on that one side, you know, if their front walls, their retaining walls are all starting to shift, and it's not like one here, one there, it's in unison down the side of the street, then there is something going on underground that it's impacting the walls, it's impacting the houses, you know. So if we could get together over that, that would be brilliant.
Okay, we'll work on that. Say more about the trash.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes, containment. Yeah, we've been having a real issue with people just leaving their bins out constantly, not returning them anywhere. They just keep them on the sidewalk all the time. And it's not just Chesterfield. I mean, quite honestly, that's a problem throughout Oakland. I'm working with DPW. They're, you know, because their guys are coming out and I know that they're writing up tickets because we're having some heavy duty hits over at the magistrate court with this. But,
Okay, so we are finding the homeowners.
well, yeah, and with them, but this is a tricky thing with the landlords because so many landlords I speak with, I ask them, did they sign the tenant landlord agreement, which they're supposed to sign? And they'll look at me and go, what? No, I don't know what you're talking about. So we really need, that's one thing maybe Jamie and Alex can work on, educating the renters, the student renters, that they really want this form. They want to see this form when they're doing their lease. You know?
And it just helps them too. I mean,
yeah.
It sounds like you may have, and then you will stop me from doing some work. If you have a lot of the landlord's information, if you could share it with my office, and then that way we can begin also reaching out to the landlords more aggressively, letting them know that to the greatest extent possible, we're going to, in addition to fines, try to drag them through the courts until they get this together. We could also talk to them about the tenant landlord agreement, and we can even do a mailer sort of an educational effort around it as well.
Yeah. Okay. I will talk with Andrea and then we'll work out something to share the information.
Okay.
And we did receive, DPW did mail out things about the landlord tenant agreements, and they have spoken at our landlord meetings, you know, to some of the guys, but it's serves them too. This is the funniest thing, is it actually helps the landlords because the student is signing the agreement saying, yes, I will remove the trash can from the sidewalk. You know, and if they sign that, then the landlord can say, hey, you know, I'm not paying this fine, you're paying it. So, but anything we can do to increase awareness of that. And I think that will help with the vermin situation. But also I think a lot of that came because they lost their source of food down in Oakland with places being shut. You know, they just, they go where they can go.
Sure.
Anybody else? Okay. And if you can let us know anything you hear on the rental registration, we'll have a party.
Absolutely. Councilman Kraus has been on top of it as much as anyone else. So he probably knows more than I, but absolutely, I'm watching it as closely as everybody else.
And maybe someday it will be an in-person party that we could look forward to.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Do any of the residents have any questions? I'm looking through the chat here. Okay. Anybody else?
What is this chat about?
Oh, no. Yeah, as the guys from Pitt are saying, we tell the students when we have the tenant workshop, and even when we did that video, we remind them that they should be getting this from their landlord. And I'm trying to remind the landlord they should be giving it to the students from their end, and that both sides should be keeping copies of this landlord tenant agreement. But it's just somehow we have to get everybody on board with this, because It's crazy. I was out today, besides taking pictures of badly parked cars, I was taking pictures of trash cans on sidewalks.
Oh.
You know, a lot. And we're going to need, you know, part of the new regulation with the trash thing was that it was not to be seen from the road. So that's part of the legislation. So they can't just park it in front of their house. They have to leave it out.
Which is, that's true. What I will say, that is hard to do for some. My trash cans you can see from the road that I live on. Now it's behind where I park my car, but because I live on a hillside, literally the only other place I would have to put it behind my house, which is behind a hillside. And so for sometimes there are circumstances where it's just almost impossible to make it so you can't see it. Now, luckily, for the most part, my car blocks probably 80% of the trash cans. But at the same time, I also recognize where, because I've turned them in myself, where I've had neighbors who are students, 'cause I live so close to Pitt, who also leave them just out for days. And I've had to personally knock on their doors and talk to them about what the responsibility is and what the law is. And they eventually get around to doing the right thing.
Oh yeah, most of the kids, when you talk to them and you explain it to them, they're like, oh, okay. And they do, they're right on board, but it's finding a way to get, you know, to get this word out more and more and more, you know, it's important. And not just with the students, because believe me, there are some residents that, you know, tend to leave their trash cans out.
Okay, we'll start working on it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment. I'd like to go back to RPP for a minute. Since this survey has just come out, there were many people who were around the last time RPP was overhauled, and there were then, I don't think there was as much social media and stuff online, but we did have community meetings, and the result of that, from my point of view, was that the community, I mean, I guess it went through the same process. There were community meetings and council had to vote on it. I'm not sure what the whole process was, but clearly the community, the residents still wanted to have stickers, and we got something we didn't want. So now, you know, it's like, here we go again. And there's this survey you want us to do, and there's going to be this process again. And is it just going to be, you're going to do what you want to do anyway, all over again? So it's hard to encourage those people to engage again. I guess that's my point. Understand that there's a lot of people coming at this where, well, why does it even matter? Look what happened last time. So I don't know what you do about that. You know, you don't give up, but just understand that that's what happened last time. And the result, I can speak for Oak Cliff Area E. In 2016, we had 28% oversubscribed. In 2019, it's jumped to 57%. And the difference there is people can now cop the system easier because everything's online. That's the only change. Our housing stock hasn't changed. It's that there's more illegal not stickers, but more illegal permits going out. So you guys, you know, love your non-stickerless program, but still not so much with the residents.
All right, I'll jump in.
Okay.
Elaine and I had this talk the other day, Councilman, about her dissatisfaction with our no longer manufacturing and distributing the placards, the stickers. And I explained then, and I'd like for the edification of everybody in the meeting, the reason and why that was done. That was introduced by then Councilman Dan Gilman and now Chief of Staff Gilman. And it was a cost-saving measure. That we were spending in the excess of, you were spending, I hate to say us, we're spending in the excess of $20,000 a year to print and distribute those stickers. And so the legislation that was unanimously passed by council, which I still believe all members are in full agreement with, is that it is better to spend that money towards the enforcement part of the program than to print stickers that are all over your windows and you're ultimately going to scrape them off and throw them out. And so that I expect that to remain. I don't expect that to change in any way, but Elena has just has expressed her dissatisfaction with that part of the program. And I think that's part of what the survey is about. If those are the things that you find, unpalatable, then put that in the survey. And if enough people respond to the survey that way, then perhaps that can or will change. But I hope we don't go into this with a glass half full, half, I forget what the analogy is.
Half empty.
Yeah, let's go into this with a positive attitude about some positive change to the program. If the changes are necessary, then please let's approach it with a positive attitude about what we can do to improve the program and ultimately the people that participate in the program. I'll leave you with this: the residential permit parking program. The conversation in the South Side started, I want to say 1980. It took probably, almost 20 years before it actually was implemented because of people just could not seem to come to an agreement on what the program should be. And then I will leave you with this. I remember the first time I ran for council. I was actually in Allentown, and there was a gentleman walking down the street, and he had a T-shirt on that said, "Welcome to the South Side, no parking since 1948." And it's just, we have wrestled with this forever. And I don't believe there is a holistic 100% solution that's going to satisfy every need. But I do hope that we take this, to heart and make it be the best that it can be under the limitations that we have.
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse, but part of that conversation the other day too was when the permit stickers went away, it went away without public comment. It went out without, there was no hearings. In fact, the talks that were going on at the time, that was not, it was mentioned, but it was never said, we're about to do this. What do you think about it? In fact, part of again, this is something, it's never going to be perfect, but this was Neil Manganero. That's how long ago this conversation was.
Yeah.
We had said, well, can we just keep them here in Oakland? I mean, it's $20,000 citywide. Mm-hmm. So could we individualize this based on area? Because one of the problems here is, well, obviously everybody thinks they have it worse, but I think Oakland pretty much provably has much higher density and pressure on our short-term parking. And at least before, if we saw cars regularly that didn't have stickers, we could at least halfway assume that they were parking here without a permit, and we could call the parking authority and get them ticketed. But without the stickers, we have to rely on when the parking authority is here. And I understand they're overworked, understaffed, but if they're only here once a week or so, that's not even touching our problem. I mean, it almost encourages it because we've figured this out. I mean, it's like $30-40 a ticket. Depending on how you're rolling it, if you're only here 3 or 4 days a week and you get a ticket 3 times a month, it's cheaper than I've seen surface lots for $150 a month.
But so those
just to park in the neighborhood.
I would offer up those are the kind of comments, however far afield they may seem, that need to go into the survey.
Right.
Make those kinds of suggestions. Sure. I don't think throw it at the wall. Whatever it is, put it out there. Give us ideas to discuss.
Sure.
I would imagine that the cost for contracting and obligation financially to print stickers for one neighborhood is going to be the same cost as if we printed them for every neighborhood, because once you have to set up a printing line and sign contracts and make agreements with people to do this, it's going to be the same amount of money. should there have been more of a public process in that? I'll take a hit for that. Maybe there should have been, but I think council was looking at it really as a fiduciary responsibility, which is the first responsibility of council, believe it or not, is that we manage the budget. It's why we meet Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That is our fiduciary obligation as elected legislators. And I believe council viewed that as, boy, wow, what a waste of money that is, because we get banged all the time about enforce, get them out there. And I genuinely believed at the heart of it, we believe let's put some money in enforcement then.
Well, that's true. Although, like, and again, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but the other problem is that the going electronic didn't exactly help it. In some ways, it hurt it, because now that some of the abuses of the system, and especially initially, I'm not sure. There were some bugs at the time that have been fixed, and other bugs that haven't been fixed. There are other, weaknesses of the system. I'm not going to say them in a public meeting, but there are things that you can do that you shouldn't be able to do.
And again, I'm gonna be the dead horse. Those are the kinds of things I think that should go in the survey.
Sure.
And if there are, loopholes or, where one can try to beat the system, then yeah, we do want to know what they are and how can we tighten them up and make it better. So I hope everybody does participate and, throw it on the wall. Let's have an honest and open discussion about it and see what we can do to fix it, or at least try to make it as best it can be.
I tried to take the survey this afternoon, and what I realized is that our parking problems and opportunities differ so much by neighborhood.
They
and
do.
I found it very, very difficult to answer some of them. And I was only given the choice was, yes, I want the fee to be higher. No, I don't want it, or I don't care. Where I wanted to say it depends. And I did put a lot in the text boxes, because there were a lot of things that I just felt was unfair just to answer one of those three bubbles. So,
I didn't fill mine out yet, Millie. I was looking at it at the beginning of the meeting. Are there character limits on when you get to actually dissertate?
I did not bump into any, but
okay, that's good.
Example, one of the questions was about parking around arena and big sports events and things like that. We used to have that in Oakland. It was a big problem, but it isn't a problem for us anymore because the sports events have moved. And so
wait a minute, it's still a problem for West Oakland.
Still have the Peterson.
Yeah, still a problem for West Oakland.
I know, but for my region, it's not. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, I don't know. I felt I couldn't really answer that adequately because it doesn't really apply to me anymore. We used to have people that sold parking places on the street in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it did. And I haven't had a chance to really review it and fill mine out, but it does speak to parking in densely populated areas that are eds and meds, and that would certainly apply to Oakland.
Yeah. There was no, I don't remember a question about limiting the number of parking permits. I don't remember that. There was.
I don't remember seeing that either.
Yeah.
But see, that's something that would be great to bring up at the public hearings, once we gather the information and then there is public comment, because then that is going to need to be digested, and dissected and discussed. And those are the times that we, and Councilman Lavelle and the remainder of members of council are going to need to understand in the complexity of the whole situation. Yeah, one size is not going to fit all. And, help us to understand the little nuanced areas. And let's see what we can do. We're working within the powers that are granted us to address those kinds of little niche areas to make them be the best they can be.
And at least one last whack at the dead horse. The other problem with what happened before was that even, again, we were talking about this thing, and then what did we hear? I saw it on the news. We got Dan Gilman didn't tell anybody this is happening.
Can you imagine what's on Chief of Staff Gilman's plate at any minute of the day?
Oh, absolutely. But if you're making a change like that, and that the community is involved and interested,
the sticker thing. You mean the sticker?
Yeah.
I thought you meant this survey going on.
No.
Okay.
Andrea, you timing out us?
Yeah, I'm so sorry to say it is 7:30, and out of respect for everybody's time, we still have a few people who had not managed to provide their updates. Student government board is sitting here very patiently waiting their turn through all of this. And I just thought perhaps we could quickly run through the rest of the agenda. There are ample opportunities for everybody to register their concern on the survey. I did it myself this afternoon. There are no character limits. You can tell them everything. So I encourage everybody to do that, and we will be pushing that link out as much as we possibly can over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, we're just very passionate, about parking here. Okay, so Devon, Councilwoman Straussburghs' office.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Hello.
Oh, I guess I'm not visible.
You're not visible, but we can hear you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I don't have too much to update you guys on, just social media happenings. We are continuing with our Humans of District 8 posts as always, but in addition to that, we have something new. We have District 8 flashbacks, which is pretty much a partnership with us and the Pittsburgh Department of Archives. And for our most recent post, we were asking for, well, it's concluded now, but we were asking for images of the city steps connecting Glen Arden to, give me 1 second. Connecting Glen Arden to Wilkins. So I will post both of those social media posts in the chat for you guys. And also I did, if Councilman Lavelle is still here, this is an aside, but I want to thank you because my grandmother has lived in the Hill District her whole life. And thanks to your offices and in your efforts, she was able to get the vaccine. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Got it.
As am I. And once again, thank you so much. So that's all that I have for you guys.
Any questions for Councilwoman Straussburghs' office? Thank you. Thank you for hanging in with us. Alex from Pitt.
Hey, good evening. I'll just run through a couple things. For those who may not know me, Alex Toner, University of Pittsburgh Office of Community and Governmental Relations. In the lead up to today, St. Patty's Day, the COVID compliance team has been meeting regularly, making sure that the university's messaging around having small gatherings to no gatherings is out in full force. Our Dean of Students, Dean Bonner, Student Affairs staff, we're out today in Oakland. So hopefully, the reports that I heard back weren't too terrible. So hopefully that is past us now. We've restarted our neighborhood safety ambassador program. So you might see our ambassadors out in all areas of the neighborhood, handing out masks, answering questions about information on the university as well as the pandemic. So please do, engage with them and greet them with a smiling face. We're going to try to get some of them, hopefully by the end of the term, to some of the community meetings too. You might remember that they were at some of the fall meetings. And just as we move forward into some nicer weather, which might likely prompt some festive moods, shall we say, with some of our students and renters in Oakland. Just please continue to use the Pitt Report a Concern tool for any COVID-related concerns. Again, we meet every other day to go over those, address them, whether it's sending the Pitt Police out for a knock and talk, or if we have to get the Office of Student Conduct involved. But I can drop that in the link. And obviously, if it escalates, just like any other year, please call the Pitt Police as well. Our institutional master plan continues to work its way through the Planning Commission. We've added another briefing, so we should be on for next Tuesday, which will be the third briefing. At this point, looking like that might be the final one, after which it would move to approval from the city. Those are live broadcasts, so we encourage anyone to tune in. You can always contact Jamie and I with any questions about the master plan process. This Saturday is Be a Good Neighbor Day. And I know that there's some student, staff, and faculty groups working with Liz and maybe some other members of OPDC to do some neighborhood quality of life projects throughout Oakland. So keep an eye out for those groups. And also just want to note too that one of our community assistants, Amelia, has been working with Andrea and team at OPDC to really sort of shore up and reinvigorate the Adopt a Block program. She's been doing a really good job. And so we hope, that continues for the rest of this term and into next year. We're excited about that partnership in terms of, neighborhood quality and student and resident engagement in Oakland. And lastly, sort of along that same vein, and I think Andrea's going to chime in when I'm done. Andrea, Liz, and myself, and Mara, if she's on here, we had a conversation today with some other colleagues from Pitt about the Clutter for a Cause initiative that we do during Move Out every spring and into the summer. As things stand right now, we'll be having a on-campus and some ancillary off-campus during the end of April. And then we're really going to try to do sort of the major programming around clutter pickup during the move out season in Oakland towards the end of July and early August. So more to come on that. Any questions from the pit? Maybe Jamie has a few things too.
Yeah, I just wanted to share briefly because I did get some targeted questions in my email box. So I at least sent out information to a number of Oakland stakeholders yesterday after the announcement that the Peterson Event Center would be used as a temporary vaccine pod, they're calling it, which is basically just a point of distribution. So that is actually, the process for that is managed by the health department, much like all of the other point of distributions. We are using University of Pittsburgh facilities and University of Pittsburgh volunteers, but you would have to register kind of blindly. So I'm not able to register folks personally. I can put the link for that in the chat for anyone that's interested. You will be turned away if you arrive at the Peterson Event Center, if you are under the age of 65, or if you have not pre-registered. So there are other folks that have complicating conditions. We're unable to accept them at this point. But I just wanted to kind of share that we're not handling the opportunity to sign up for the vaccines at all, but our students, faculty, and staff are going to be volunteers. That effort started today and will run through the end of next week. They'll also come back for second dose at the Peterson Event Center as well, for folks that are able to get themselves a slot this time around.
That sounds great. Any questions for either Alex or Jamie?
I just wanted to chime in to say Alex is not in any way exaggerating, and Amelia is solid gold, and we are going to do our best to keep her over the summer. Alex, I neglected to tell you that earlier. I'm going to pay her actual money. We're going to see what we can do to help her onboard the next community assistance intern, which we hope Pitt will be gracious enough to share with us for next year to be able to continue the program. But we've been getting great results out of the Adopt a Block program, the way that it's organized, and we hope that if we, without quite so many disruptions with different kinds of alert postures, and also with a slightly better organized onboarding in the fall, that we're going to lose no time and we're going to have great coverage. And these kids are amazing. I would just like to say so. Big ups to all of the Adopt a Block volunteers because they rock my world.
Thank you. Student Government Board, Eric, Ryan.
Hi, I'm going to run through some quick updates, and then if there's questions at the end, Eric or myself will be happy to take them. So first, as some of you may know, at the beginning of this month, SGB held its annual election for next year's board and president. And I'm super excited to announce that I was one of the 8 board members elected, and therefore will be continuing my involvement in SGB. So I'm really excited to have the opportunity to work with you guys for another year. Going into more updates, SGB is holding a submission contest where student artists can submit their design for a new public mural on campus. The mural aims to capture the struggles and successes of Pittsburgh and the university during the fight for social justice. 3 finalists will be selected to win a cash prize of $250, and then the students will vote for 1 finalist to win a $750 cash prize, as well as art supplies to complete their mural on campus.
Where at?
Third, SGB is continuing to sponsor free legal services for undergraduate and graduate students, as well as offer emergency aid to eligible students in need. So if you know anyone who may be seeking those opportunities, please contact or please have them reach out to SGB. The CGR committee and the Student Office of Sustainability are planning a joint marketing effort to push out trash and recycling information to off-campus students by the end of the semester. So I'll keep you guys updated in the loop on that. And then the final thing I wanted to touch on is just some concerning gatherings that took place this past weekend. So Saturday afternoon, there were several large gatherings in Oakland as part of like St. Patrick's Day celebrations from students, and 2 of those gatherings were dispersed by police. Dean Bonner and the university are now strongly encouraging all students who attended these gatherings to get tested and quarantine themselves for 10 days in order to prevent a change in the university's risk posture and stop the spread in our community. And as always, SGB and the university will continue to monitor the situation and promote like positive behaviors like wearing masks and social distancing to prevent situations like this from happening again. But that's all the updates I have. If there are any questions, either me or Eric would be happy to answer them.
Where is the mural going to be placed on campus?
To be determined. We want to give the artists some discretion in choosing where they think their art might be best situated on campus. But we have a few outdoor and indoor locations in the works.
Oh, that's great.
You're limiting it, Eric. You're not being all like, oh, you can be a huge mural on the side of Pozvar. You can totally do that. No.
Right on Parkview.
There you go. Right in front of my house. That's what we're looking for.
I want the south side of the cathedral.
There we go.
Anything else for the Student Government Board?
Eric, can you introduce Hannah?
The incoming president, Harshitha, is unavailable. An emergency came up, but I'll be sure to make sure she is here for the next meeting. And as well as that, we'll be sure to give her a nice introduction to the Oakland community during our transition over the next few weeks.
Okay.
I volunteered to do a walking tour. We'll get her up to speed. It's going to be okay.
Thank you. OTMA, Mavis, there you are.
Elena, thank you so much for just being able to say a few words. In case folks were not aware, during the BRT planning process, the Port Authority in January introduced plans for what they were calling a West Oakland layover. And that location was a small lot in front of I think the Hampton Inn, a Craft and Hammock place. That raised a lot of questions and concerns, certainly by the Oak Cliff and South Oakland community, as well as adjacent property owners. Many of us weren't aware of the plans for that layover station. After a number of meetings with Port Authority leadership, the Port Authority has decided to not use that location as a layover. We are trying to get some confirmations from them that any future conversations regarding a bus layover as part of BRT or anything that the Port Authority is doing, that they will have a public engagement process before any decisions are made. We're also trying to coordinate for a number of Oakland communities, neighborhoods such as West Oakland and Baca, who've not had a chance to be engaged with the Port Authority in regard to BRT, that they at least have a chance to convey questions and concerns that they have regarding BRT circulation and how that impacts local route service for those neighborhoods that aren't part of the 5th and Forbes corridor, but will be impacted by any bus stop consolidation, any change in local route service, and any connection to BRT. So I just wanted to, again, give folks an update on where those discussions are right now with the Port Authority.
If I could just chime in for 1 second and also let you know that I also had a conversation with the Port Authority about the layover, and they told me that indeed, moving forward, if there's any further discussions about it, we will absolutely have a public process.
Great.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mavis? Okay, seeing that we've run over time, community Q&A very quickly. If anybody has any concerns, I'll give you about a minute. Seriously? Okay, great. Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening, for hanging out with us the entire time. Our next meeting is Wednesday, April 21st at noon. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.